Got to say personally, if I see anybody carrying a gun, I don't care the color of that person's skin. I get a little bit nervous and tense and just want to go away from that.
Hi everybody, my name is Mike. This is my YouTube page, Mox News. Thanks very much for tuning in. Okay, so I thought I'd try something a little different tonight. Tell you a little more about my personal life. This video is titled The First Time I Ever Got High, or Why I Hope You Will Embrace Open Carry Laws. So I cut you a bouquet from my garden because it seemed appropriate for this video. And I'm not much of an arrangement guy, but it smells amazing. So nice. Fresh cut flowers. A little bit of backstory. I grew up in Central California, a little town called Los Osos, and it's right on a bay called Morro Bay. I went to Morro Bay High School. Morro Bay High School was a great place to go to school. Los Osos was a great place to grow up as a kid, at least, you know, when I was there. And it's really the only place in California that I miss ever. Morro Bay was a 7 through 12 high school, so 7th grade through 12th grade, and it was right on the water. Not right on the water. It actually was it was about a half a mile, quarter mile to a half a mile from the ocean. On days when the PE teacher didn't want to do anything, he would say, "All right, run down to the beach," and run up and down the beach. And we'd run down to the beach, you know, run, and then I'd just kind of pick up shells and skip stones and stuff. There's like a 5-mile long beach there to run on. So it was a really nice kind of place to grow up, and I had a friend from elementary school until, you know, high school, till I graduated high school, and his name was David Peterson, and he was, you know, in junior high. He was on a bowling team with me. He went to the state championships, and he was a really good guy. You know, he'd come over and spend the night. You know how friends are in high school. They're like your brothers. They're like family. You know, it's like the most important thing in the world. So, you know, we hung out a lot after school and did all kinds of stuff. And Morro Bay High School was an open campus, meaning that at lunchtime you could go off campus to go get, you know, some fast food lunch or whatever. And there was like a Taco Bell and a KFC down the street. They were very popular at lunchtime. But we always brought brown paper bag lunches. You know, that's what you do when you don't drive and you don't have a lot of money. Your family's not super wealthy or whatever. So we would bring our brown paper lunches, and we would go across the street to the park. Directly across the street there was a park. There was a couple baseball diamonds and stuff like that. And we'd go over and we'd sit on the grass and we'd eat our lunch. You know, away from prying teachers' eyes and the principal or whatever. And I remember I was sitting there with David one day, and it was just a normal thing to be sitting there eating lunch, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, he says, "You want to smoke a joint?" I was like, "Okay." And I remember he was rolling it up, and I was like, "Wow, I can't believe he's, you know, rolling a joint right in front of me." He pulls out a bag and starts rolling up a joint, and I'm like, "What kind of marijuana is this?" And I remember he said, "It's purple sensimilla." And I was like, "Wow, that's cool." I had no idea what purple sensimilla was. I think some of these plants are going to go. This is this right here is black cherry soda, and she's going to go kind of purpley. I think. Actually, I think she's going to be all pink, but she's supposed to be pink. We'll see. Hopefully, we'll see. Anyways, he said, "Purple sense of me." I'm like, cool. And he rolls up a joint, big old fat bomber joint, and you know, with the orange zigzag. And we start smoking it, and we puff it, and puff it, and puff it, and smoke it down to a little tiny roach. And then there's like seagulls, right? There's always seagulls around. It's right close to the ocean. So I start throwing, leftovers from my lunch over to the seagulls, and more seagulls come, and more seagulls come, and I just keep throwing them food. And next thing I know, there's like 20 seagulls or 40 seagulls or something. And it's like, oh, we gotta go back to class. So we start walking back to school, and there's like this long driveway down into the school, and there's like 40 seagulls following us, going, give us more, give us more. It's like a big old flock of seagulls above us. And I'm like, they want the Pringles. I threw them a handful of Pringles, and they all died. And we took off running into the school. And we get into the school, and it's like I ran around a corner into the school, and I was like, pressed myself up against the library. I think it was the library right there, like around the corner, like hiding from the seagulls, And I look up, and there's the principal, like 2 feet from me, like right in my face, looking at me, and I just start laughing, right in his face. And he looked at me, and he goes, get to class. I was just like laughing my ass off. Okay. And I went to class, and, that was that. But, and I'm sure that, these days, if you were to have that kind of experience with your principal, he probably wouldn't say get to class. He'd probably be like, come with me, and all police state, we gotta check you out, because we can't have any of this. Can't have any of this right here. So anyways, that was the first time I ever got high. And since then, that was the 9th grade. I was 15 years old. And since then, I have gotten high more days than not. So, and David was a very good friend. And then about a year ago, it was probably going on 2 years now, or 18 months, a little more than 18 months. I got a message on the Facebook, and it was from David Peterson, and he needed a bowling partner. He's like, hey, I need a bowling partner. Are you down? And unfortunately, I had injured my elbow like a week before, and it just was not up to like throwing a 16-pound rock down the bowling lane. So I said, I'm not up to it. I'm really sorry. And then I didn't hear from him for a couple. That was the first time I heard from him since high school. And then I didn't hear from him. And then I saw a news story on TV. This news story.
A 19-year-old accused of killing a man for a cell phone in Seattle pleaded guilty today to first-degree murder. Police say Byron White shot 54-year-old David Peterson last year in the Greenwood neighborhood. According to court documents, White told detectives he shot Peterson because the man had seen his face when he tried to take the cell phone. White was a senior at Ballard High School at the time of the shooting. He faces up to 28 years in prison when he is sentenced next month.
Family members we spoke with say they welcome the closure, but feel like the sentence isn't enough.
That you can kill a person and the only thing you get is 30 years. I've been talking to people for a year and 8 months, and hardly anybody can believe that.
Byron White was 17 years old at the time of the crime, but was tried as an adult.
And I felt really bad after seeing that news story that I hadn't gotten the chance to get together with my old friend David, and that I never would now. And And this is why I hope that you will embrace the open carry laws, because Washington State is an open carry state. And the thing is that this punk ass nobody came up to him with a gun and said, "Give me your phone." And he gave him his phone, and then he shot him anyways, because David had seen his face. And David bled out in the street with his wife and daughter watching. And to me, it seems like, if he had had a sidearm, visible, on his side, I don't think somebody would have come up to him and said, "Give me your fucking phone." If there was people around him, if he didn't have one and there was other people around somewhere, I think he was in a parking lot of like a department store when this happened. And if there was other people walking around and they had a sidearm visible, I don't think that would have happened. I think that would have been very discouraging from somebody pulling out a gun, especially some little punk ass 16, 17-year-old. And I think that it makes the world a much, much safer place if there's people that are armed walking around. Because that's how much you can count on the police. That's how much the police are going to save you from punk-ass nobodies. That's how much they're going to save you. They're going to come and mop your body up. So I really hope that you will embrace open carry laws. Unlike this prostitute's like, "Oh, I'm terrified anytime I see somebody with a gun who's not a police officer." Right?
I think in many states, this open carry law is insightful and provocative. And I think it places additional burden on resources, law enforcement resources, and it makes the community feel less safe. And I think it seems to be more of a power play, more of an assertion of what people perceive to be their God-given rights, let alone the constitutional rights. And it's senseless. Like, once again, we have to make laws and deal with regulations that are sensible and meant to improve the quality of life for the largest group of people possible. And then one other point, Alex, too, is that open carry in the black community, there's a different level of open carry. It is one thing for a black man to be walking with an assault rifle anywhere, and another thing for a white person to be walking with an assault rifle. So even the application of the open carry laws have a certain bias built into them, but they're illogical and insightful and unnecessarily provocative.
Well, I just got to say personally, if I see anybody carrying a gun, I don't care the color of that person's skin, I get a little bit nervous and tense and just want to go away from that. Marquez Claxton, it's always good to see you, though.
The reason this prostitute is terrified any time she sees someone who's not a police officer who has a gun, number one, is because she's part of a profession that is incredibly despised by the American people, that have lied to and sold out the American people for a shiny fucking penny. So yeah, of course she's terrified. She spends all of her time in rich neighborhoods with her rich friends. So yeah, naturally, somebody with a gun is like, "Oh my God, that guy's got a gun." Probably in New York, where guns, or DC, or some other place where guns just aren't a thing. Nobody's even allowed to have guns, basically. So yeah, I'm terrified. Of course you are. People hate your guts. I don't know how these prostitutes keep their front teeth. You should be terrified of people with fists. Because I can't figure out how these people that sold us the Iraq War, that sold us all this fucking bullshit over and over again, keep their front teeth. But I digress. I think open carry laws discourage crime in a big way and could quite possibly save your life. So if there's any chance that your state is going to pass, thinking about passing open carry laws or has open carry laws that they're trying to get rid of, I hope you will step up and defend the open carry laws, because one day they may save your life, they may save a good friend of yours' life, or they may save your child's life. And that would be a much happier ending than this story has. So I thought I'd share that with you because, I've wanted to talk about it for a little bit. And the thing is right before the Ohio convention, the police asked the Ohio governor to suspend the open carry laws in that state. And there was people walking around the convention, not in the convention grounds, but outside the convention, open carrying. And I guarantee you that made it a safer place to be. So if you get the chance, I hope that you will embrace open carry laws, vote to pass open carry laws, or fight to defend open carry laws. Because, like I said, it may save your friend's life. So thanks for tuning in. My name's Mike. This is my YouTube page. And I hope that, I don't know. I'm just trying to do what I know how to do. And I need your help. So if you'd like, there's a clickable link in the text body of the video to make a contribution to Mox News. We did 500,000 views in the last 7 days, and I got 3 donations for $10 each, which was very generous of those 3 people. And I don't say that to complain. I say it because I think some people think that I'm raking in a bunch of donations, and that is not happening, so you know. And your $10 makes a big difference in my life. So thank you to those 3 people, and if you can, kick down, put a little something in my bowl. It's the reason Mox News is still here, because generous people like those 3 people have, for the last 10 years, kicked down a little something in my bowl. This is for the bowl later. But this is months away, so thanks for tuning in. My name's Mike. It's my YouTube page. Stay cool. One of these days this war is going to end. Till that day.
Compassion stirred the Buddha to send his monks out into the community. Sworn to chastity and poverty, they wandered the roads, bringing the Buddha's teachings into the world. Go forth, monks, for the happiness of the many, out of compassion for the world. There are beings whose eyes have little dust on them, who will perish if they do not hear the teaching. But if they hear the teaching, they will gain liberation.
The monks exist by begging. We think of begging as kind of a bad thing. Begging in this tradition is a good thing. It's a sign of spiritual purity.
You're not allowed to beg tomorrow's lunch today. Only today's lunch. Then you can't eat from noon until dawn the next day. Then you have to go out and get another lunch. And then in exchange for lunch, you give a lecture. Unless they say we don't want to hear about it, then you don't. But that's the only thing but that forces you to interact with the lay community.
And if you're not serving them, if you're not doing something useful for them, they won't put anything in your bowl, and that will be the end of your community.